Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we explore the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Milan Kohut, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced, the lessons learned, and the strategies fueling future growth. Today, I'm absolutely thrilled to be joined by Sarah Musavi, a consistency coach for women over 40 who's guiding busy professionals to ditch excess weight and fatigue for good by using food as medicine without restrictive diets or endless pills. She demystifies weight loss tied to issues like blood sugar, joint pain, thyroid problems, and sleepless nights by building personalized habits around nourishing the brain and gut. Her framework empowers clients to create their own kitchen tools and plans, mastering stress, social events, and schedules to stop the cycle of starting over every Monday. With that being said, Sarah, let me officially welcome you to Founders Future.
Thank you very much. That was a pretty good introduction.
No, I'm glad you like it. I did my best, as I always do. Love it, Sarah. I was very much looking forward to our conversation. So I'm not going to waste any time. We're going to hop right into it. And what I love to do at the beginning of every single episode is a bit of traveling back in time. So before you even had your own business, your company, your practice, what were you doing before? And then eventually, what was the motivation for starting the business?
So I did my PhD in biochemistry and I was in the research and science of the world. I started experiencing a lot of migraines and it was really affecting my work in the corporate sector. And I went to many doctors, went to neurologists, and all I got was painkillers or even antidepressants or maybe sleep medication. And even though I took those, it did not take care of my pain. And then I started getting ear infections. So even for that, I was given like, okay, steroids. So I got really fed up and I said, I need to find something that nature has already provided because our body ultimately decomposes in nature. So it should be able to live with nature as well. And I hadn't really learned all of that because working in the lab, parents being scientists, I really just ignored the natural world. So that's when I went to an Indian Ayurvedic doctor, and the little oil that he gave me, some diet modifications. In 2 weeks, my ear infection was gone. And so, yeah, that's when I started learning. I said, okay, I need to learn. And I went and started taking the course from Institute of Integrative Nutrition to become a health coach. And of course, my migraines were gone in 3 months. So it opened my eyes to, okay, we are just looking in the wrong direction for some of these things that are just chronic and they don't need a band-aid solution. They actually need a more going to the roots where the problem is coming from, and it needs some time. So that was where I started.
So the traditional healthcare system that we all know was basically just feeding you pills, several
Mhm.
different types of pills, and then you visited an Indian professional, and this all went away in 2 weeks.
In two
That's what
weeks.
happened?
Yeah. Yeah. It was
Wow.
magical. And I'm also born, I was born and raised in India. And in spite of that, I did not look at the Ayurvedic medicine because I was so deep into science and research and medicine, and both my parents being scientists, that we just poo-pooed on natural healing. Yeah.
Yeah, this is very interesting though. It's quite paradoxical, isn't it? With you being science, just
Very
trying to for look
ironical. Yeah.
for other ways that make more logic sense
Yeah.
and interesting. Now, Sarah, obviously you got to the point where you basically decided that you're gonna go your separate way. You're not gonna be working in research and science anymore. You're gonna launch something of your own. Now,
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure as anybody else in business entrepreneurship, there was a lot of adjusting along the way and you're really trying to figure out what is it that you're going to do, what kind of service you're going to provide, and who is this for. So we're going to talk about eventually where this journey got you overall and what the business
Mhm.
looks like today.
Yeah.
Now, in this part of the podcast, my goal is to really bring some clarity to our listeners in terms of who is it exactly that you're trying to help right now, and also what are the core offerings that you have in place for those clients. So tell us all about it.
Okay, so when I certified as a health coach, people around me actually started noticing a difference because I had put on a lot of weight after my son was born, and I was even oblivious to that. I Because it just grows on you and you don't even realize, and you're in the throes of life, and you just keep making a bigger size cupboard. And then you're wondering, I was more concerned about my migraines because it was affecting my work than I was about my weight. But people noticed that I lost a lot of weight. And even though I would just, oh my God, my pants are falling off. What's happened? Okay, I'll just get a new one. Oh, okay. I went from, I used to be size zero before my son was born. And then I went to size 12 and 14, and I did not realize that. And then I went back to 6 and 4. So people noticed that and they said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm eating this way, and this is what sometimes I'm making a juice, sometimes I'm doing a detox, and my skin was looking better." So people started coming to me for weight loss, which I don't know anything about weight loss, but I can help you get healthier because I got myself rid of migraines. And back in those days, I'm talking 2012, there wasn't any social media presence. So it was all one on one, and I would meet people. I was actually enjoying it. I was also an aqua fitness instructor. So people would see me, and I would get clients, and we would do one on one. And sometimes I would do like community events, or so it was very personal. And then in 2020, then when the whole world, so then a lot of people got to me, women, that can you help us improve our immunity? And by then I'd figured out the root cause, and the solutions are pretty much the same. Once you clear yourself out, you also build your immunity, you also lose weight, you also get rid of the migraine. So then I went online and people started doing courses with me online. Initially, I just did it for free. Then people liked it, and then I did a membership program and I did group programs. So it all became really online. I don't think I've really met one on one since 2020, though I
Mm.
miss that part. But so it's a very online community that I have. And interestingly, so when I did a membership that was last year, so one of the women who joined me, she was on so many medications that I could tell that her weight problem was because of the excessive medications she was on, and she was declared bipolar. But I could see that she's very sharp. She's able to do a lot of things. So I just gave them the encouragement that, listen, if you improve your diet and you keep talking to your doctor to reduce your medication, then things can improve. But if sometimes doctors just are not willing to reduce the medication. So, anyways, this girl, she tried talking to her doctors to reduce her medications, and she had to go through hoops for that, but she found someone to help her reduce. And I think 3 weeks ago, she came to meet me because she lost 50 pounds. And she said, "You were the one who planted the seed that you could get a good life and be healthy without medications." So that encouraged her beyond the membership to explore further. And she's really thriving now, losing the 50 pounds, and she's off most of her medications. I think there's one psychiatric medication that the doctors are giving her a hard time. So, where is my business right now? Now, in that process, I also had been developing a community organic garden here because I'd worked for Monsanto. And I quit Monsanto because I was having a lot of questions about the GMO, the use of glyphosate, and I wasn't getting answers. I wanted good supply of food as well. And there was an opportunity to start a community garden here. And so I said, I need to show people how they can access good food without breaking the bank. And that is like, even if you were able to grow 3 or 4 herbs in your own house, if you were able, so I started developing a little model about where you are and how you could access good food, not just growing it yourself, but also where to find the right resources. Here we have the community supported agriculture, or there are little businesses, little farmers. So I myself go to 3 different farmers to access different things instead of going to big grocery stores. And then in 2021, I happened to be in India, and a school approached me and they said, "Can you help our students get good grades?" And I said, "Listen, I don't know anything about getting good grades. I know I got pretty okay grades, but what I can help you is find out why they're not getting good grades. And I want to talk to the teachers." So I started speaking to their teachers, and I ended up meeting all 80 of them in a group and one on one. And I went to the management and I said, "Listen, your teachers are very unhealthy. So if your teachers are complaining of back pain, headache, fatigue, diabetes, arthritis, and they're having problem in their relationships, their finances, what kind of baggage they're coming, and how can they motivate children to do their best if all they're telling me that, listen, I'm doing this job just to earn money." And you
Mhm.
could make a person who's doing widgets do that and not affect the widgets. But when you are working with little minds and your entire job is to motivate those little minds and to encourage them, but you yourself are deflated and discouraged, you're really spoiling the whole generation. So it took me a lot of time to convince the senior management that, listen, you need to do some kind of a teacher's wellness program. And because I don't live here, what I suggest is that you start a community organic garden club over here, in which children and teachers would get involved, and they'll build rapport, they'll get outside, they'll get exercise, they'll have access to food. It was a mind shift for the management, who was really stuck in, we just need to get good grades because we the school ratings, and it was a private school. It's a private school for low economic income
That's a
category.
big shift on who to blame.
Yeah, yeah. So they really started blaming, oh, these kids come from poor backgrounds and that's their thing. And And I'm like, kids are coming to school. So in the time that they are in the school, they are waiting to be nurtured. And what if you start nurturing yourself? And so the amazing part of that journey is that now it's been like 5 years almost, and they have 150 to 200 students gardening. They've bought a separate land, 5,000 square feet, just to grow fruits and vegetables for the school. They have set up a nursery. They're selling plants, and children are in a micro economic business. And my role is just as a mentor. I go there every year and take them for a farm visit. So we're moving towards, how can I help people access good food and build a system that promotes health? Because what I've understood is that any problem that we experience in life, it could be health, it could be money, it could be career, it could be relationships, it is actually a systems problem. So every system is designed to achieve the results that it's already achieving. So if you need to correct that problem, then look at what is it set up on. And if the setup can be changed, then ultimately the results, the desired results, will come. So with the school setting up a whole organic gardening club, the environment in the school is very different now. The students are excelling, and the teachers are talking about how they're feeling so much better, and it's working. So I'm thinking of moving to, say, school farm visits, at least in India, because it's a lot easier to work with private schools over there. And a few schools are interested in teachers' wellness programs. So I'm thinking maybe I want to take like an online teachers' wellness courses, and also retreats, definitely, of people to experience that. If you're experiencing diabetes right now, it's so easy to blame it on sugar, but sugar does not cause diabetes, because if it did, then everybody would be
Yeah.
diabetic. Like little children, they're eating a lot of sugar. Their mother's milk is full of sugar. So it's a very reductionist approach to blame it on one thing that, oh, just because of carbs. It's how you're eating it, when you're eating it, what else you're doing with it, where is it coming from, all of those things. So everybody needs some education. So I think where I'm going forward is partnering with people. So I'm going to India again and partnering with a naturopathic doctor who runs a wellness center over there, and moving it to start with the basic of online educational courses. So at least you start seeing things a little wider, which is where I started. Okay, it's not just this narrow science world, not just the hospital. The playing field is very big. And then from there, okay, let's see how can I access food so I can, but then we talk about where to access the really good food. And after that, if people are interested, then we go on a retreat or we
Yeah.
do one-on-one consultations. So I keep it.
I think with you getting into the world of like gardening and changing the kitchen habits, I feel
Yeah.
like that's just going to open up so many opportunities because you're basically just going from like the being a health coach, basically just for the sector of B2C and really working just directly with individuals to basically having the ability to impact whole organizations, whether that's hospitals, schools, whatever that might be. I feel like that's very exciting though. Now, Sarah, I do have a question though. What I want to talk about also on the podcast is it's like the back end side of the business, right? Because we all know that there is a lot of happening on a front end. Obviously, there is a lot of plans, a lot of ambition. I love to see that. But with you being a business owner and running this project, there is a different set of questions that you need to be asking yourself on a daily basis. And one of the things that you have to think about is how to create a good client acquisition system in place.
Yeah.
So you already know this on this podcast. If it is regarding marketing, sales, operations, we want to talk about that stuff. So I'm curious, what is it that is happening on the front of marketing for you, or maybe specifically lead generation, to have the ability to onboard new clients into your programs and keep having bigger impact?
That is what I never learned. So to learn about your own health is a lot simpler than learning about how to market what you already know. Unless I go to the same level of learning that I did for my health, the shift that I made from the science to the natural world. And to think about it, it took me a good, at least 1 year to really get a good handle. And that's all I did in that year was learn about my body and the systems. But I haven't spent that much dedicated time to learn about client acquisition because it's not of my interest. And I really don't know. And sometimes, so I'm learning from one coach how to build a LinkedIn profile. And then I'm learning from another coach on how to build an Instagram page, but it's not as simple.
I got you. Now, I really appreciate your honesty when it comes to this, though, because obviously, if you spend like the last 3 years just digging into several different strategies, obviously, we could dive deeper into that. But what I'm loving about what you just said is the importance of us basically playing on our strengths, right? That the most value, the most service you're going to do for your clients if you actually spend time on what you're trying to deliver. So I love that. Now, when it comes to this, obviously, I would assume that you haven't tried that many specific strategies that we could talk about. But let me ask you this question. When you really think about the growth and the impact of your company, are you trying to create something like much bigger that would essentially allow other people joining you as team members and build out your teams, whether that's for sales, marketing, whatever that might be? Or would you rather just find some time yourself, just learn how to do all of that stuff and just keep it more smaller and sustainable? What is the idea?
I think that I want to make an impact because what's the point of baking a bunch of cookies and just keeping it to yourself? And doing it alone doesn't work, definitely, unless you really learn how to do it. And I've seen, I just haven't spent that much time to learn how to do it. And I wish, just like I sit with clients to develop their health strategy, and I'm a consultant for their system of health, I also need a consultant to help me with my business strategy and look at the system that I'm operating in so that I'm not kind of doing a guessing game and I'm not spending so much time trying to find clients. But like I said, everything depends on the system. So my system was not designed to be online, it was a very in person, and but I like the flexibility of an online business. So it would
Oh,
be
definitely.
great to have a team working with me on this. Yeah.
And especially in today's day and age show. Obviously, everybody and everything is online.
Yeah.
So, and this
Yeah.
is, by the way, one of those pivotal moments and moment of adjustments that I
Mm.
mentioned at the very beginning of the podcast. We all know that the good old COVID that showed up. It's going to work differently from now on. And everybody, you either adapt or you die. That's what it is. But I love it though. I obviously, there is some self-awareness in terms of, okay, this is what I'm going to do because I know that I'm good at it and I'm going to get some help so that I create the rest of it, basically. When it comes to this, I'm also curious about your idea of like how much this can grow though. Because one of the biggest questions that we end up talking about on the podcast is scalability. Now, when it comes to your time as a coach, obviously, if you only did the one-on-ones with your clients, there's only so many people that you can help on a daily basis. So I'm curious, going forward, would you say that the model for scalability for you would be to maybe focus more on the group coaching sessions where you can impact a lot of people at the same time? Or would it be more about maybe like getting other clients to work underneath you with your methodologies? What is the idea?
I don't know. The correct answer is I wish I knew what is the right approach because I I'm not a business person and I just like to see that people around me are actually set up for success in their health. So anyone who comes to me doesn't go empty-handed, but at the same time, because I'm not set up like that, the business, I've seen so many friends of mine come and ask me for advice and I'm giving them, I'm even writing down a plan and we're working on things and they just go and find somebody who has a system and they pay $5,000, $10,000 to the person who I've seen a friend actually get quite badly bitten by this flashy flashy person who took her money to show her that okay, I have all the answers for you, but didn't put in the time to really, so she did not need such a focused approach on diet, but she really needed a bigger approach on mindset. But she actually got more stressed by being through 3 months of meal planning and dieting that it actually set her backwards in her mental health, that ultimately she went on to getting more antidepressants. So it's rather
Oh, wow.
sad that I wasn't able to help just because I didn't have a system to market in a way that would be so welcoming, so easy for people to understand online, especially. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And again, thank you for being so authentic the whole time. I feel like you're an open book. I can ask you anything.
Yeah.
And with that being said, also, before we wrap it up here, I want to ask you one last question and basically just leverage on top of the openness that we're showing right now. Now, with you saying something like, I'm not a business person, I'm more focused on what's actually happening with the client, which I completely understand and respect. I just want to see if you look retrospectively at those years of you being entrepreneur and business owner and knowing who you are as a person and what is your perspective, if you could travel back in time and maybe
Mhm.
give yourself an advice, what would that be?
Advice. It would be to hire a business coach or have some kind of a business training, or just like I got myself health training to understand nature healing. I need business, either coaching or a team or something like that, because you just can't do it alone. You're going to waste time and money.
That is very true, though.
Yeah.
For some reason, there's a lot of people who feel like if they invest into somebody who's going to help them get from point A to point B, somehow it's going to set them back by
Yeah, I think
investing
it's
quickly.
also a matter of trust because there's so much
Oh,
scam
yeah.
out there. You don't know who to trust. So
Yeah.
when I did my health coaching program, I could trust that Institute of Integrative Nutrition 100%. And they delivered on that training. It wasn't the world, it wasn't an online world, but they were able to send us a flash drive with all the material on it. But nowadays, it's becoming really hard to find out who you can trust to get you the business results because everybody seems to be, and now with AI, it's even harder to discern. Like sometimes I feel I don't really know if I'm talking to the real person anymore.
Yep, that's the world we live
Yeah.
in. Welcome to 2026.
Yeah, so that's the
Absolutely.
skill that we need is like, how do you know who you can trust to help you with your business?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sarah, listen, we covered a lot. At this point, I'm going to say thank you so much for taking the time, sharing the story with me and the audience. I really appreciate it. If anybody from the listeners would like to get in touch with you, perhaps one day even work with you, what's the
Hmm.
best way to go about it?
Just go on my LinkedIn for now and type my name, Sarah Musavi. And that's where I am right now because I'm in the process of developing a website in my name and revamping my Instagram. So LinkedIn is the
LinkedIn it
best.
is for now.
Yeah, my
Beautiful.
email, I have an email. It's really long. It's called my nourished kitchen table at gmail.com. Even on Facebook, you can find me with my name.
Beautiful. So Sarah Musavi on LinkedIn
Yeah.
and Facebook, both.
Yeah, my last
Beautiful.
name is Musavi, like Victor, I, Sarah with an H.
Beautiful. Sarah, thank you again. It was a pleasure to have you on. I really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Appreciate it. Okay.
Now, to our listeners, if today's conversation inspired you as well, make sure to subscribe to Founders Future on your favorite platform. And also, if you're a business owner, more specifically a coach, consultant, or you have an agency and you're trying to scale the business and really enhance both your sales and marketing efforts, also visit closers.io, get in touch with our team, and discover how exactly we scaled our company from zero to over 30 million per year in less than 3 years. Until then, keep on crushing it, and I'll see you on the next one.